So if you're watching XRP right now, it's been a bit of a roller coaster right after a huge run up. The prices dipped to a 3-week low, and that old feeling of uncertainty is definitely starting to creep back in. Today, we're going to dig into a really important question. What if all this chaos is actually part of a much bigger story? And that question really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? We're going to cut through all the noise and break down 3 things you absolutely need to understand. We'll look at the price action, which is telling 2 different stories at once. We'll look at what the biggest players are doing behind the scenes. And of course, the huge update that's looming with the SEC. Let's find out what's really going on. All right, so first up, let's tackle this price paradox caused, depending on how you look at the charts. You are seeing 2 completely different narratives, and that contradiction is really fueling all the confusion right now. I mean, on one hand, you zoom out and look at the last year, and wow, a staggering 300% climb. It's outperformed a ton of major coins, and this is the bullish backdrop that's had investors feeling so optimistic for so long. But then you zoom in and you see the short-term pain, a sharp 16% drop in just the past week. Ouch, and that's what's feeding all this nervousness. So the big question is, which one of these signals is telling the real story? And all of that brings us right here to this current battle line. XRP is in a dogfight to hold its ground in that really crucial zone around $2.80. Whether it holds this line or breaks could really set the tone for the next few weeks. Okay, so what gives why the sudden drop? Well, part of it is the whole crypto market, right? Bitcoin slipped from its recent highs, and when the king sneezes, the altcoins tend to catch a cold. But that's not the whole story. To really see what's going on, specifically with XRP, we got to look at the technicals. So let's dive into the charts, because this is where things get really fascinating. The technical signals are telling a story of a market that is just completely divided. For traders, there's this one bearish pattern that's getting a ton of attention. It's called the inverted cup and handle, basically. You see this big U shape on the chart, that's the cup, and then a smaller dip, that's the handle. And when you see this pattern form, it often signals that, hey, the price might be headed for another leg down. And this is where you can really see that tug of war playing out. On the bearish side, you've got that scary chart pattern. You've also got the RSI, that's a momentum gauge, dipping into the mid-40s, which shows buying pressure is fading. But on the bullish side, the price is still holding above its 50-day and 200-day moving averages. Think of those as the major long-term trend lines. As long as XRP is above them, the bigger uptrend is technically still alive. It is a classic standoff. So look at the end of the day. It all boils down to this. The technical battle lines are drawn. If we see a daily close below that crucial 275 zone, that could open the door for more selling. But if the bulls can find some strength rally and push the price back over $3, the path to retesting the recent highs is wide open again. But this fight isn't just playing out on the charts. It's happening behind the scenes with the biggest players in the game. Let's take a look at the wild and frankly contradictory behavior of the XRP whales. You want to see how crazy this is. Just look at what the whales are doing on one side. We're seeing huge accumulation. I mean, some of these large wallets are scooping up tens of millions of XRP, seeing this dip as a golden opportunity. But at the exact same time, other whales are moving over 100 million XRP onto exchanges, which is a classic sign they might be about to sell. This clash is a massive reason for all the volatility we're seeing. But here's the thing. All of this analysis, the charts, the whales, it's all happening in the shadow of one single gigantic factor, the elephant in the room, that ongoing legal battle with the SEC. And this right here is the absolute core of all the uncertainty. Yeah, Ripple got that landmark victory saying XRP isn't a security for secondary sales. We all know that. But the SEC still hasn't withdrawn the appeal it filed way back in October of last year. This one delay is the single biggest thing putting a lid on the price and keeping big institutional money on the sideline. But listen, this isn't just some abstract legal thing happening in the background. We have a key date coming up, and it's coming up fast, August 15th of this year. On that day, a joint status report is due, and that's basically going to force the SEC to show its hand. Will they finally withdraw, ask for more time, or signal they're going to push ahead? So what that means is we're looking at 2 very clear and very, very different paths forward. The bull case is simple. The SEC withdraws its appeal. The legal victory is final. And the floodgates could open for institutional money and a spot ETF. The bear case, well, the SEC keeps dragging its feet, and the regulatory cloud that has been hanging over XRP for years just continues. Okay, so with all this short-term chaos, it is so easy to lose the plot. So let's just take a step back, zoom out, and look at the bigger picture. Let's look at the fundamental value that's being built no matter what the daily price chart says. And that, of course, brings us to the next massive potential catalyst, a spot XRP ETF. The dream is absolutely alive. You can bet that some major financial players have their paperwork all ready to go, but all of it hinges on getting that final legal clarity. Until the lawsuit is definitively over, that ETF just remains a powerful what if. And it's really important to remember that underneath all this price drama, Ripple is still building. They're upgrading the core ledger for better performance. They're continuing those monthly escrow lock UPS to help manage the supply. They're even developing their own stable coin, which is a key piece for driving real world utility and payments. This is the foundational work, the stuff that's aimed at creating long-term value, not just short-term speculation. So, okay, let's put it all together. This is the standoff. We are balanced, right? On that critical support level, around 280 if it breaks. The bears are definitely looking at 250 as the next stop, but if the bulls can take back control, especially if we get some good news from the SEC, the next target is a retest of that recent high around 366 and maybe even higher, so you can feel the fear in the market. It's real, but the long-term potential is also very real. XRP is just caught in this epic battle between short-term technical pressure and long-term fundamental promise, with the SEC basically holding the final key. A big move is coming. There's no doubt about it. The only question is which side is going to win this high-stakes fight.